Hello, and welcome to Getting Started with ARCHICAD. My name is Leeswan Bolden, and I am a Senior Professional Services Consultant with Graphisoft North America. Today, we will be giving you tips to help you get going inside of ARCHICAD and start your new project and understand where you can get help. When you start a new project, what you will see is this screen, and at the top left corner, you will need to click New. Upon choosing New, it will have you choose from a template. We will be choosing ARCHICAD 23 template.tpl. A template file is the base file that provides the structure for the elements that you see inside of your project. Please note MEP Modeler 23 template will not be available to you unless MEP Modeler has been purchased. After selecting the template, you will need to select your work environment profile, and we will be choosing Standard Profile 23. Your work environment includes palettes and custom shortcuts for your workstation. Getting started with our interface, the top bar that we see is called our standard toolbar. This will feature such tools as pan, guidelines, trace reference, intersect, favorites, and many more. The secondary bar is called our info bar, and it will populate based upon the tool that is selected. Currently, the tool defaults are to arrow tool, and that's what we see here. Upon selecting a tool, the icon of that tool will be represented, the layer that it will be defaulting to, and the geometry method which you will use to draw with. The rest will vary depending on the tool which you have selected. On the left-hand side, we have our toolbox, which can be expanded by clicking its edge to see the tool name. They are currently divided into selection tools, design tools for our 3D elements, documenting tools for annotating, and more. If you need to see just a collapsed view, you can move that to the left so you can only see the icon of the tool available. Also, you see as a part of the interface the tab system. Upon right-clicking, we can see other similar views to the view you have selected, and also use some tools to help change other views to look and appear as this one does. You can click here at the top left corner to see all of the open views which you have available. As a part of every view, we have this called the Integrated Quick Options bar, and it will give you information about the settings and how your drawing appears on the screen. Lastly, we have our navigator, and this is how you will move throughout the project and organize your files for export. The navigator includes the project map, which is the source views of all of the elements inside of the project. So project consists of these things: stories, sections, elevations, interior elevations, schedules, things like that. The second tab is called our view map. Now these two tabs we will be modeling in. The view map is where we can filter the model to see specifically what we want to see. So for instance, if I go to a first floor plan view in the schematic design folder and open up its settings, I'll note that each of these settings has a particular alignment of those names to help you understand how each individual view will look and appear. The third tab is our layout book, and it's actually mirroring the structure inside of our view map. So if we go to the SD first floor plan page, layout page, we will notice that that drawing has been populated here and will be updating as we update the model throughout. Lastly, we have our publisher. We can export to 3D rendering with CineRender. We can use BIMX, which is our mobile platform for navigating both your 2D and 3D drawing model, DWGs, IFCs, PDFs, and printing options. When selecting a view, you will need to double-click and note that the view will be bolded and the title heading will appear with the same name as the view. Getting started with selection. When you are selecting any of these elements, you can first start by hovering over an element, and it's going to pre-select it in blue. Once you've decided that's the object you're going to select, click, and you will see the information active about what that element is and its settings in the info bar. In order to pan and zoom, first pan, press your middle scroll wheel, and it will move your screen side to side, and then zoom by clicking your scroll wheel up and down and positioning your mouse. It will zoom to that particular view. To switch between 2D and 3D views, you can use the shortcut F3 or click on the tab heading to go to your 3D view. In the 3D view, we have one additional option, which is to orbit. So zooming is still moving your mouse up and down. Panning is pressing your scroll wheel to move your model side to side. And now we have orbit, which is to hold shift and your middle scroll wheel so that you can move around the model. Please note that orbit is only available in the 3D view. If we return to floor plan for a moment, you might also decide to see a portion of your model using the marquee tool. So when I select the marquee tool, we have two options: to see the selection on a single floor or to see the selection on multiple floors. So by drawing this marquee over a section of your drawing, we can right-click in this area or use the shortcut F4, F5 for your PC to see that selection as a part of that view. When you want to get the original view back, or to see everything in the view, you can right-click in that blank space and use Show All in 3D, or you'll see the shortcut Command F4 or Control F5. All right. Drafting basics. A key part of understanding working inside of ARCHICAD is that multiple tools have what is called a geometry method, which helps you select how you are drawing elements on your screen. So if I go to my All Visible and Unlocked view, we will start by showing you the line tool. Open up your document tool and go to the line tool. And here you will see several different geometry methods. So we have the single geometry method. This will allow me to draw one element. So I start by clicking the first point where I want to start, move it in the relative direction, and then typing a dimension. It does default to feet inside of this dialog. Once I press enter, I am done with that particular line element. If I select the chain method, I will start my position and enter a dimension, but I can continue drawing in all of those different directions while entering a dimension. If you have drawn a leg of this in error, you can use delete or backspace to get to the last place within that line. When using the chain geometry method If I want to stop the line here, I will click again in the same place to end that set of lines. Next, we have the rectangular geometry method. This will allow me to choose the top left and bottom right. If I want to enter the dimension, I can start by typing and use my tab or arrows in order to enter the secondary dimension, and then press enter to complete that action. Wall basics. Walls also use geometry method to draw. We just need to take note of what is called a reference line. So if I return to my floor plan view and select the wall tool, I can note in the info bar that it is defaulting to the AWOL's exterior layer. And here is where I can select our geometry methods. You can use a flyout menu, or this little caret, by clicking 1 second to reveal other geometry methods that are available to you. So here we see the single method, chained, rectangular, and rotated rectangular, as well as other curvilinear and other non-traditional methods are available here. The reference line is what we choose to draw with, and as we change our wall to add more detail, it will build off of that particular line. For our structure, we will start with a basic wall. A basic wall includes one material versus our composite, which has multiple materials extruded along a line, and our third type, which is a complex profile, which you can use to draw details and other geometries that are not linear. So in drawing this line, this wall, we can switch through our geometry methods by clicking the flyout. A quick way to switch between these geometry methods can also be using the G key as a shortcut, and Shift G to move backwards to different geometry methods. So I can start, that darker line is the outside face of this wall, and I'm going to type that dimension. If you want to flip the wall, you can use this icon here, or P, to help you choose which side of the wall that you're working with, and type a dimension. I'm going to use G to switch my geometry method again, and from here, going to begin drafting. So I can either type a dimension, then it's going to continue drafting, much like our chain command with the line tool. And I can click again to end that series of walls. Similarly, we have our rectangular geometry method, and you'll want to note that darker line or reference line. The way we see it currently, if this wall becomes a wall that has brick and other finished materials, that brick would be along this darker line or the outside face. So you will find yourself using the flip command or the P key to ensure that you're getting the correct results. Now that we've learned a little bit about getting started with the geometry methods and the wall basics, you'll note that I have not went into a dialog box. Your walls are defaulting to linking between stories. So if I want to enter a settings box, I can double click to go into the default settings, and here I can note that this wall is linked between the first and second floors. I can also determine its thickness and material. These other settings are also a part of our info bar. For our story settings, I'll determine that it is linking between that first and second stories. You will need to set them under Design, Story Settings, or the shortcut Command 7 or Control 7. Lastly, now that we've gotten a little bit of basics with ARCHICAD, here is where we find help. The ARCHICAD Help Center can be accessed via Help, ARCHICAD Help, and it will open up a browser window that has a searchable database of information that you can use. You might want to start with Getting Started with ARCHICAD to learn more about how you can continue getting started with ARCHICAD. Also, please check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ARCHICAD, which will feature videos about using ARCHICAD, new features, and also users and how they are using ARCHICAD. There is also a training series available here. Lastly, if you're inside of ARCHICAD, you can find help by right-clicking on the tools, and this will take you to a specific article in the Help Center. If you are within the menu and you right-click on the tab heading, that will take you to that article as well. Well, I thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I hope you've learned and enjoyed a little bit about getting started inside of ARCHICAD. Thank you.